Alright, this is Indecision, and I will be VOD reviewing Dragon. He got placed in low silver, and he will be starting to play Mercy for us in this VOD. He is a support player, although he does sometimes flex to projectile DPS, things like Junkrat. Alright, let's get into it. So in this team comp, you're going to be wanting to damage boost the Hanzo whenever he has his Storm Arrow up, because it's just going to make destroying shields that much faster. Other than that, you will be mostly wanting to stay in a kind of quick rotationary position, focusing mostly on keeping your Baptiste alive, healing for him if necessary. Good revive, nice taking behind normal cover. If your team is just fighting on payload like this, you don't need to be constantly jumping, possibly showing yourself to all the enemies, because you're jumping outside of the shield wall quite a bit. It would be better to just stay around here, or if you start having problems with the Genji, get all the way into here. Nice pull of pistol. Yeah, you are jumping too much for the fact that you don't know where their Hanzo is. If you need to move around and try and dodge things, try to crouch instead of jumping. Okay, you heard the Hanzo up on the right on the bridge. Right there. So at this point you need to be shifting away, or else you are just gonna get pretty much, you could get halted, you could get right-clicked, you could get hooked. Well, you could get right-clicked by Zenyatta, you could get hooked, and then the Hanzo's directly above you. At this point, you need to be falling back to around where the Baptiste is, or else you are very likely to die. Ah, good job. So you're just not respecting their Hanzo at all. You need to try and get more cover from him. He's fired 4 or 5 arrows at you. However, it's just, he only needs to hit one. It's better to just walk into the room on the left, because you can still see people's health bars through walls if they really do need help, and you still would be able to heal your Hanzo here. This would have been a good time to Valkyrie, because you would have been able to stabilize your team fairly well, actually. You can notice that your Hanzo's 3/4 and your Roadhog is under half. Yes, he's going to be getting a lot of healing from Baptiste very, very soon. However, you also have your Doomfist all the way over here, pretty much bullying their Zenyatta, getting focused by the front line. So a good point to Valkyrie is just Valkyrie this group right here and have them all push forward. The Moira will pretty much instantly die, and if the front line doesn't pull back, they're going to be in a pinch scenario between your Doomfist your Hanzo, and the rest of your team on the other side. You want to be shifting to this Doomfist. They don't really have anything close enough that you need to be scared of. A Hanzo hitting you out of the sky while you are shifting towards a target is a very difficult job for him to do. So when they're this low, don't be afraid to just shift towards them, and if you can't get a very good lock on them to shift directly towards them, you can also just shift to the Hanzo right next to you. And if you press space quickly while releasing shift, it will slingshot you forward, and you will pretty much land right next to the Doomfist, being able to heal him. And you don't really need to worry about the Orisa either, because she's in such position that if she gets headshot by the Hanzo, she has no armor that's going to one-shot her. When you know Doomfist... Oh, wait, no, that was yours. Never mind. If you see a Genji blading, just Valkyrie. It'll get you out of the place, and if he goes for you with a Swift Strike, he'll be stuck in the middle of nowhere since he can't get a reset. So as soon as you see a Genji ult, if you aren't already 100% gonna win, or if you're afraid that he's going to go for you and you won't be able to do anything, just Valkyrie away. Your Valkyrie charges so fast that it doesn't matter. So there's a Hanzo on your right. You would have called this just about now. It looks like you are calling for help, and then you call for help, nobody turns to deal with them, and then you just turn away to not deal with them either. It's like a bird sticking its head in the ground. If nobody turns to deal with them yourself. Just a couple shots from your pistol to try and force him away. That was a lot of damage. Whoa. That's also another good use for Valkyrie, especially when you're up against projectile. It speeds you up quite a bit when you're flying through the air, and you can change direction pretty much on a dime. So if you are getting flanked, you can just Valkyrie pull out your pistol and kill the flank. Immer unterbricht mich jemand bei der Arbeit. Healing stream engaged. Team up for special attack. Good damage boost, making sure that he can kill the Hammond quickly. If you don't have to worry about healing people, yeah, yes, there's a Hanzo above you. That was just a mechanical mistake. Won't happen again. You're good. If you do feel like you're about to fall into mines like that ever, you do have Valk. You can just fly away. Valk is good for 3 reasons. You can get away from things that are ulting at you, Mei, Genji, Doomfist, whatever. You can run at supports and DPS, and you can kill them pretty easily, actually. And then you can stabilize a fight because it does all the area effect healing or all the area effect damage boosting. You are definitely holding on to this ult too long. If you had used it already, before the first point was capped, you would have a second one by now. Your life is not less important than your Doomfist's life. If they're dead this far in with this many enemies this close, because you have your Roadhog who just died, you have your Doomfist who was dead that you could see, then you could see 1, 2, 3, and 4. Anyways, this is suicide. You're just giving them free ult charge, which they actually need because they are missing 4 ults compared to your team who is about to have 4 ults. So if your teammates are this far in and you need to make a judgment call to figure out, hey, is this fight winnable if I pick someone up? If I pick that person up, will they be able to win the fight for me even if I die? Things like that. Don't just run in and suicide.
Der modernen Medizin.
Nice escaping. Okay, so you're focusing too much on these guys. Meanwhile, your Roadhog is definitely overpushed. So he's dead, you know this. However, these two are also extremely pushed as well and can't push anymore because of the Hammond. So nobody can save the Roadhog. He's dead. He's going to die. So when this sort of situation happens, you are Mercy with Valkyrie. You are fighting a 4v6. You just need to put yourself in a position where if your Orisa dies, you can get away safely. So if you are trying to get away, yeah, crouch spamming is good. However, if you're trying to get to an enemy, not an enemy, a friendly, just shift to them instead. You have it up. It's on a 2-second cooldown. Don't just jump at them slowly. Mercy is a very good character because she brings her res, and she can pretty much go anywhere in the fight on a moment's notice. This is dangerous. If she has Halt Orb, you die, and you will res the Baptiste. And if he has Immortality Field, in fact, we can check if he has Immortality Field, you might live. Nope, it is down. You have doomed you and your Baptiste to die, pretty much. When you res this close to a Zenyatta, a Moira, and an Orisa. The Zenyatta has all the damage here, and he can and will one-shot both of you. Then, of course, there's the Genji above, who can just Swift Strike down and have free resets. It might even cause your Roadhog to end up dying, and your Doomfist to end up dying as well. When they are this pushed up, you lose one of your supports. Even if you have Valkyrie going, don't run in like this. You're just going to get CC'd and die.
This is not your time.
See, she used the Halt Orb right over the Baptiste's head. If she would have used it even a second sooner, that fight would have been very over. Try and wait until you have a person with a stun, shield, or is just really, really big and has a ton of health to get in front and be pretty much a problem for the enemy to get through if they want to stop your res. If you just do it in the open like that, you will die. If someone... Oh, never mind. You did it. Good damage boost. Getting bumped in through the Hammond happens. There's not much you could have done about it. You didn't have Valkyrie. I guess you could have tried to flick to quickly find someone to shift Guardian Angel to, but at that point, that flank was very likely going to kill you unless the Baptiste could use Immortality Field to save you, or unless your McCree or Roadhog could stun him. Good save revive. Whenever you revive, if you have a choice and your team is safe, revive the person who will get to point slowest. So that would be tanks first, excluding D.Va and Reinhardt and Hammond. Then on this team, you would be reviving the McCree and then the Baptiste. If you feel like you need more healing, then it would be okay to revive the Baptiste, but he's going to be back there pretty quickly. Nice draw. If you hear your McCree ulting behind you and there's no one to really heal because your Doomfist just died, go damage boost your McCree. It will make his High Noon go off faster. Or you could just heal him as well and it will keep him safer. Good revive. But Hammond pretty much suicided to stop your revive. That's always a good thing. Even if he does stop it, that's a 5-5, and he's going to die no matter what. So as soon as this next fight starts, your team is about to have 3 ults plus yours. You need to be Valking as soon as your team has ults, so you can spread all the healing and all the damage boosting around, and you can just push through the point. Good noticing the Doomfist. So right here, the fight is lost unless you ult, and even if you ult, it's possible that it's going to be lost. The question is, will your team die to Mines and Coalescence before the Orisa gets her ult and before you both supports use their ult? Because your McCree is using his ult, he might get 1 kill, 2. However, your team is definitely going to die because you don't have Immortality Field. Your Baptiste just used it. So it's pretty much up to you to do burst healing all throughout the team. Baptiste will do as much as he can, and he can do a lot. But he can only heal 2 targets at a time, maybe. Plus, when you Valk, it's just going to make you safer up in the air. There's nothing on this team that's going to really kill you in the air. The Xin might get lucky. That's it. Good, Valk. Exactly what I was saying. That was great. Perfect. So you need to take better notice of your team's health when you are Valking. Your team's at full, and you've still been left clicking. If damage boost is always great, especially when you're running a team comp with McCree and Roadhog, that's just gonna make things go way easier. If a Genji's on you like this, draw your pistol and run away towards your team, but keep shooting at him. If you turn your back, that just makes it easier for him to kill you. You could have easily done half his health, pretty much, before he drew his blade, and he may have had to run away. That should be around. Yeah, that's round. So you're using Valks at good times, but there's a couple more times that you can be using it that you're holding too long. So just think of more areas where you can use it to protect yourself or to kill damage or supports.
Switching sides. Initiating match. Ready for battle. This
Once the mission starts,
Damage increase.
lethal force authorized.
Let me get you patched up.
Hypothesis. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers.
Okay, so your job pretty much here. Best thing to damage boost would be the Hog or the McCree. Because if the Hog gets a hook, damage boosting is going to make him one-shot whatever he pulls, except for tanks, and sometimes Ana, because her headshot hitbox is weird. And your McCree can use it always to just break a shield. McCree is one of the best shield breaks in the game.
I'm taking care of you. Damage boost engaged.
In situations where there is a ton of damage going off AoE like that, and you have a Moira, just switch to the Moira, heal her. The Moira pretty much has to put about a second worth of left click into your entire team right here, and they're going to be fully healed. Meanwhile, she's going to be at 3/4 health until you heal her.
Healing stream engaged.
So focus on the other support and situations where AoE damage goes off, but it's not really going to be lethal.
Damage amplified. I could use some assistance.
Yeah, you're just fine. If you are getting flanked, just pull out your pistol. I think that's the biggest thing that I can say for this VOD, other than use Valkyrie more. Don't let enemy DPS walk all over you. You can definitely kill them. Or at least scare them to such a point where if one of your DPS or one of your tanks come up, they'll die. So they have to run away. Because your McCree flashbanged the Sombra here. If you would have shot her once, maybe twice, she would die. So where you're standing is a good place to be until you start to get flanked. As soon as you start to get flanked, you need to be pushing either directly onto the cart with your team, into this room, if you feel like you aren't going to get ulted, because there is a mini in that room, or you can push to the right near the triple window building. Just standing here and getting flanked, if you die, your team is so far pushed up that they're not going to be able to do anything to help you.
You needed a doctor?
In these situations, just stay with your McCree, or actually, in a 1v1 situation, unless your team desperately needs you for Valkyl or to res someone, just stay with your DPS or your off tank to force them to win the duel. If you leave, there's still a chance that they can lose. You being there pretty much turns it into an assured victory, and if your teammate is decently full in health, you can either damage boost them or you can draw your pistol the same.
Let me get you patched up. My ultimate is ready. Go.
Hail the Mahal!
So because you ran to the Roadhog instead of backing up still or using Valkyrie, that's what caused Jarvis to die so quickly. If you would have backed up to the right instead, right over here, you're completely safe because you can just Valk over the wall before you take too much damage. Run through here, or you can run through here and you'll still be pretty safe. So you shifted all the way to your Roadhog, but kind of left your Orisa out in the cold. Everybody's dead. Just run away. This is a lost fight.
Till Valhalla.
Didn't turn into a lost fight. That sometimes happens even when it's not expected. However, there's still a big thing to know from fights like this. They had just captured the point. There is nothing that anybody could do to stop them. This cart is going to sit there for 10 to 15 seconds not moving while the gate's opening. Pretty much all the ults that your team used, including yours, is completely worthless. You will not be able to stop the cart. You will not be able to slow it down, because as a defending team, you want to be fighting on the cart. Actually, not on the cart. You want to be fighting in front of the cart as much as you can to stop the enemy team from getting it and still pushing it. If you want to imagine it, here's the cart, this box. There are a couple ways to fight with it. There's a lot of people who fight behind it. This is behind. Let's mark that with B, and this is front of it. If you fight behind it, this cart is going to be pushed by the supports standing right next to it. Support 1, support 2, and maybe a single DPS. Meanwhile, their tanks, being a Reinhardt and a Zarya, are going to be pushing into you, making sure that you can't contest it. This being, and because of this, they're just going to push for free, and you're not going to get anything. And when they're stuck at a point like this, that's kind of the same thing. They're just going to make you waste ults that they don't really need you to, because they can't push anyways right now. Now, another way to hold this is if you play on the cart. It's not the best way, but if your team won't do the best way, this is fine. Just play on the cart, use it as cover, use close natural cover around it. As a mercy, the cart's so big that you can just dodge around it for free. If the tanks dive on it, just back up to nearby natural cover, like the walls here, and you'll be pretty safe. Now, the best way to fight and the way to convince your team is neither of those, because when you're holding on the cart, as soon as they get to the cart, it's going to stop moving backwards towards where it was. Or for a defending team, pretty much previous points, I guess you could call it. If you are holding here, you have more to push. The cart's going to slowly push back to you. That is the best situation to be in. Now, with using all these ults and the fact that they have 4, you are no longer going to be able to even get onto the cart without dying. There is no one on your team who has an ult good enough to stop a EMP Shatter Grav. So, your goal here is to just charge ult now and have your team push up and support your team pushing to the cart to try and stop it, then you move forward. So don't you, I guess, even though that was a bit of a tangent, don't use ults when they had just captured a point.
Let me get you.
What you're doing right here, what your team is doing right here, the Moira, and what the Doomfist kind of did, he has ult so he can get out. This is, in a nice word, feeding. You're giving ults to the enemy pretty easily, because Shiva, that's their Moira, she's about to have ult. Their Lucio is hitting the Doomfist, and yet you guys are going to get pretty much nothing out of this. The only one who might get something out of it is you, for the healing that they're going to be taking. But that's one ult compared to the 2 that they're about to get, plus they have the other 4. If your team does this, call for them to back up, or they're just going to die. They're going to feed ults, and you will 100% lose the next fight. That's Yuris's fault. She didn't reinforce in time. Do not res this. Never res near Reinhardt. If you do, that's an extra kill that he gets. Okay, now it's safe-ish. But that's the problem. If you res without somebody in front of you, you need to be looking at the enemy so you can immediately shift behind cover because you know where they are. Don't ever turn your back to the enemy. That is going to get you killed over and over and over again.
I must go where I'm needed.
Enemy team has 6 ults. Your job here is pretty much make them use them. Well, your team's job is a better word, I guess. Because as soon as they decide to use them, there's nothing you guys can do about it. Good backing up. You don't need to die for that. Even though the Zarya killed you, it's better that you didn't get pulled in. It's showing good habits of, you know that they're going to be ulting soon, so you're playing farther back.
Back in the fight. Let's get you back out there.
So as a Mercy, since you don't have to be thinking about mechanics too much, a good thing for all Mercies to practice is getting extremely good at game knowledge. A good first way to do this is for you to track the people within your roles ults and your counters ults. As soon as you do this, you'll have a much better time with game knowledge, at least, because now if you were paying attention, you know, hey, they have EMP Shatter, but as soon as I get Valkyrie, that won't matter, because if they EMP while I'm in the air and then Shatter, I'm not going to drop low enough to the ground to get shattered in time. So keep track of ults as much as you can, starting with your roll, then your counters. That's invulnerability field. You need to res him right now. There's nothing that can stop you at all. Yeah, the Genji could technically destroy it, but he'd die doing so. Good res, but try and shift towards things where you know it's completely safe and you won't have any problems getting there. A Roadhog isn't really going to die extremely quickly. The only thing that could make him die instantly would be if he got booped into the entire team and they all focused him. If he's walking in like this, just damage boost him until you notice his health go down around half. Because then he's going to have to heal himself. Then you can damage boost him a little bit more while he is attempting to heal him right after he's done healing himself. And then if he goes down to half again, just hold down left click, don't let it go, keep him alive for about 8 seconds, because then his healing will be back up. Your Baptiste suicided, you have a Sombra up here, and you have a Hanzo here. Your goal now with the Genji right here is to leave. You're about to lose 2 to 3 people. This fight's done. Your Sombra suicided. Don't be peeking wide, peek close with the Hanzo. The Sombra would have died if she didn't have Translocator. She can do that sort of stuff, like running into the middle team, peeking without fear because she can get out instantly. There's nothing on their team that can instantly kill her. However, they can just charge Earth Shatter, and if they Earth Shatter you, the game's done. There is no way that your team will come back if you die this late. They're just going to run up, stagger you, stagger the Hanzo. Everyone's going to die. This would be a great time to Valkyrie. It's just going to keep everyone healthy or damage boosted, and you won't have to worry about things like the Hanzo getting low. He's directly behind you, but if you heal the Orisa with it, it has enough range that it will heal the Hanzo as well. So when they're ulting this much and are this pushed, just Valkyrie. Your Hanzo died back here. You need to call Zarya's there. Your Sombra's about to die as well, so this should be exactly how you guys lose. If you feel like you're gonna die, don't die with ult. If it's going to be last fight, whatever you do, do not die with ult. And that is game. So, the big things that this game showed is that you need to make sure that you are at least somewhat safe while reviving. Do not turn your backs to enemies. If you do so, you're just going to die over and over and over again. Stop jumping so much. Crouch spamming is better in Overwatch. Use Valkyrie more. It charges extremely quickly, and you can win fights with just Valkyrie. If your DPS does well, or if you have, yes, a Roadhog. He can hook and then one-shot someone with the damage that will give. And was there anything else? Yeah. If you see a flanker behind and your team isn't dealing with it, pull your gun and shoot at him. If you have Valk, pull your gun and kill him. Alright, that has been the VOD review for Dragon Ferocity. Our pretty much flex support player. He plays mostly Mercy, plays a bit of Moira. Alright, and that is it.